What is Wool Wars? Wool Wars is one of Hypixel's newest minigames that fully released in May 2022. Taking inspiration from MCC's BattleBox, your goal as a team of 4 is to capture a point in the middle of the map, while trying to fight off the other team. After its official release, Wool Wars quickly became popular with its fast-paced gameplay, a variety of kits to choose from, and power-ups you can use on the map. So, is it still popular? Not really. As of 2023, the game averages about 50 players and around 100 on a good day. To look at the current state of Wool Wars, here's a list of things I'll be covering in this video. Wool Wars gameplay is fast-paced and based on making quick decisions. Once you've picked a kit and the round starts, you can choose to run to the sides or middle of the map, fight the other team or place blocks in mid, and use or save power-ups and your kit's ability, or just PvP. It's not that friendly to new players. Because the player base is so small, most people have played a decent amount and already know how to play each map and how power-ups work. With the nature of Minecraft PvP, it's easy to die quickly and feel like you haven't done much. You're more likely to lose multiple times in a row, not because you're bad, just because there's a huge amount of high-ranked players that play the game a lot, or they play in parties. There are also other reasons for why I think Wool Wars isn't that accessible and or fun to play, especially if you're new. Tank's ability is to gain regen 4 for 2 seconds. It engages fights and takes damage for teammates. I think Tank is balanced for melee fights, which is what it's supposed to do. Assault's ability is to spawn knockback TNT, which deals loads of KB when blown up. Assault is pretty well rounded with upgraded tools, decent armor and pots. It's the main kit for breaking blocks at mid, and the damage pot can be useful to combo people or knock them away. However, the ability is a bit jank. Either people go flying or they get sent 2 blocks away. Other than that, I think it's balanced. Archer's ability is to launch you backwards, which can be aimed once you figure out how it works. It's also special, as your 6 arrows can be unlimited. You get them back if you hit someone. It also gets permanent speed too. Archer's maneuverability is second to none, and is great for avoiding damage. As most kits don't get speed, archers can run away from their opponents if in danger, or use their ability to escape or kite players from middle or sides before they can get to them. Combine this with respawning arrows, and stuff like this happens. I think that the idea of Archer is great, but when it leads to games like that, it only makes Wool Wars fun for whoever's team has archers. The kit needs to change either its speed, ability, or arrows, because there really aren't enough ways to counter it. Swordsman's ability is to gain speed 4 for 3 seconds. I think Swordsman is one of the best kits. It can get kills pretty quickly, lasts longer with its health pot, and its speed is useful to engage fights or escape them when low. It's the best counter for archers because of the speed buff, but it doesn't work all the time. Golem starts out with only gold boots and a stone sword, but its ability is to gain nearly full gold with prot 2 for 5 seconds. I've seen it used in niche situations for unfair fights or to out-melee the other team. The problem with it is that it's really squishy without its buff, and essentially it acts like a swordsman without health or speed, making it pretty useless. Engineer's ability is to freeze mid for 5 seconds, which makes players unable to break or place blocks at mid. It's supposed to be an all-rounder kit, but no one really uses it. The absorb doesn't do that much, and it dies quickly to a swordsman or archer. People tend to go for fights rather than mid, making its ability useless. Overall, Golem and Engineer are barely used, and I think they need to be changed in some way. Power-ups spawn every round and can be a number of different things. I'll rate them from 1 to 10. 1 means no one uses it, and 10 means it does what it's meant to do. Chain and iron armor add some protection. In some cases, it can double it depending on what kit you have. 7. Stone tools. The sword can help the fights, and the pickaxe helps in mid. 10. Speed gives speed 2, I think, for 3 seconds. It can help with rushing and PvP. 10. Bow, depending on how close you are to mid, it gives either 2 or 5 arrows. 5. It depends on how good you are at bow. Strength buff gives strength for 3 seconds. It's a 1 or 2 hit kill no matter what kit you use. Rounds are based on knowing where strength is, if it's in the game. I personally like it, but some people absolutely hate it. 10. And now on to the more useless ones. Jump boost gives jump boost for 5 seconds, I think. It's only useful in like a few maps if you happen to be chasing someone, but other than that, it's pretty useless. 3. Haste buff gives haste for 3 seconds. It was released in the 1.2 update, but no one uses it, and I'll show you why. because it just runs out and there's literally no point in getting it.
2.
Hypixel needs to change these or replace them with something else. Overall, power-ups can be a strategic part of Wool Wars, and most of them are pretty good, but I'm just gonna complain about Archer again. Archer can use their ability to launch to mid or wherever the power-ups are, and they can just get them before anyone else does. So when I said they can be strategic, in games with archers, it becomes who's gonna be the archer to grab everything and camp mid. And if there's strength that round, you can die within a few seconds depending on what map you're on. So strategy just doesn't exist if you have a good archer on either team. Matchmaking in Wool Wars was implemented to try and balance teams. In practice, most competitive players play in parties. Sometimes you'll get queued against a party, sometimes your party will get queued with other parties. In case of 4 queuing, you'll more often than not be queued with another 4 party. For solo players, this can create one-sided games for you or the other team, as parties tend to be more coordinated and know what they're doing. Because of the low number of players, these issues are amplified and makes the overall experience more frustrating than fun. Feels like there's a clear divide between party players and normal players. There isn't that much incentive for players to keep playing the game. Cosmetics are nice, but they're cosmetics. Hypixel added prestiges in 1.2, but it takes a long time just to get to level 100, and because of the low player count, it takes way longer to queue games anyway. It's fair to say that it feels like Hypixel has kind of abandoned Wool Wars, with updates 8 months between each other, with a stagnant player base. It's not looking great for the game at the moment. Although the fact that they have updated it suggests that they know it still exists. The Wool Wars community have been trying to keep the game alive by hosting tournaments with prizes and events. People really like the base game and want it to succeed. It could potentially be a really good minigame, but Hypixel has other priorities.